Hey, it's good to see y'all again.
Hi, everyone.
Colton, and this is our special speaker.
Brendon.
And we're going to look at the third part of Dungeons and Dragons. And we will get on with it here in a minute. But anyways, good to see y'all. And I'm going to be quiet.
And this is the third part, like my dad said. And also the last part of the Dungeons and Dragons action figure toy reviews.
And hi, my name is Brendon. I'm their D&D expert. If you haven't watched any of the previous videos, and I can't wait to dive into this one and maybe teach you all a little bit more about it.
So, there's other figures that we have to review. We just don't have them yet. But this D&D is going to continue. So anyway, we found out that he watched the movie that they just released. So he's going to touch more on that in this review. And he's going to tell us his opinion and how he feels about the movie and stuff like that, along with the toy review and stuff like that, so of Dungeons and Dragons. So, Colton, what do you want to say?
I think we should now head over to the reviewing area and get to the final member of the Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, and there will be no spoilers of the new Dungeons and Dragons movie that has not been shown in trailers. So just if you're wondering, you can watch this with no spoilers.
Very good. Very good. So we will see y'all here in a minute. So y'all hang tight.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
So here we are at the reviewing area, and here is the final member of what we have, and also the final part of the Dungeons and Dragons action figure toy reviews. And we will be reviewing these two characters, which is Bobby and Uni. Uni is the little unicorn.
Yeah, they put a lot of thought into naming it.
And Bobby is this guy. And the packaging is all the exact same things. And you do have a nice picture of Bobby and Uni here. And this is the die that they come with here. And Brendon brought over the
D12.
The D12.
Yes.
Right. And the same warnings and plastic free. And on the side we have another picture of Bobby and Uni in a different pose here. And on the back we have some barcodes and attentions. And up here we have the figures here, some cross cells, and what they come with here. And on the side here, you have a little bio here in multiple languages, which you can speak. And the QR code there.
So a cool thing about that QR code is if you scan it with your phone, it'll bring you to the D&D website where it can help you get started playing D&D if you're interested on it. If you can just scan that with your phone at your local Target or anywhere like that where these are sold.
Okay. That's interesting.
And on the bottom, just some warnings here.
So what does it say about Bobby's bio?
Okay. Bobby the Barbarian and his sidekick, Uni, the Unicorn, are always ready for battle. The forces of evil.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay. So while he's opening up the package, let's talk a little bit about Uni, Brendon, right quick. Uni was Uni a character that they added in the cartoon, or is Uni a character that you can play in D&D? How does that work?
Yeah, so what Uni is in the game of D&D, you can have like a familiar, is what they call it, or like a pet. And that's basically what Uni would be. You could find pets or use certain skills to train animals, but it's not really a playable race or anything that you can play. It's just kind of a flavorful role-playing. Like you can have a pet dog, you can have a horse, you can have... And so I guess if you were to find a unicorn, you could kind of have it as your friend.
Okay, so could the unicorn attack, or is there there's no dice for their added companion?
Yeah,
or is there just the figure?
Yeah, so you can have the figure, and everything in D&D can make an attack. So it can roll the D20 the same way you could to try to, I guess, stab whatever it is with the horn.
Okay, so say Hank has a pet dog.
Right.
So you grab the dog, you roll the dog, and the dog can bite. So like an orc or a witch?
Yeah, you could just simply say, I'm going to have the dog, because you control and own the dog. I'm going to have the dog bite the orc, and the dungeon master can roll a d20. And if it rolls high enough, we're going to roll for damage for a bite. It's going to bite it.
Okay.
So you can very much use animals like that as other weapons or characters and stuff like that.
Okay, so besides their weapons, you can also control their companions. They're okay.
Now, it is difficult to kind of... There's a skill called animal handling. It's a skill in the game that you would have to, roll a high enough number, and over time, it's kind of like a dog, right? Mm-hmm. You got to let the dog come to you, then you got to pet it, then you got to... Like, it's not just an overnight thing for them to trust you and be with you, but once they're with you, we all know a dog is so loyal, they're going to be with you to the end.
Okay, so you pretty much got to build up the skill level.
Yes.
To get to that point before attack, you have to win its trust.
Yes. So, granted, in the cartoon, they kind of sped that up with Dungeon Master saying, basically Uni is now with Bobby. They kind of really sped that up. But in the game, it would probably take 2 or 3 sessions for you to get an animal to be like that. I think for the cartoon, they just wanted to give Bobby kind of somebody, around his age. Because when you watch it, it's very much the unicorn's a baby unicorn. So it's really like two kids traveling together.
Yes, yes. Now that is a good point. That is a good point that he made, and that makes sense. Looking back now, the way Dungeons and Dragons was structured now, they went off of the game kind of, and it makes sense the way that it's structured looking back, because in the 1980s when we watched it, we just thought we was watching the cartoon.
Yeah.
Now, since some of this stuff is being explained, we can understand a little bit more where they were coming from.
So here we have Bobby and Uni here opened up and out of their packagings. And but before we get into these figures, a quick update about the Diana figure. Now, I didn't notice this until now when I started messing with Bobby here. His hat, but Bobby's boots here does have a swivel here at the boot. So when I saw this, I was like, wait, does that mean Diana or Hank have a swivel at the boot? So I started messing with Diana here, and she does have a swivel at the boot here on, yes, on both sides. And I don't know if Hank...
Yes, I'm messing with Hank right now. Hank has the same articulation.
The same boot swivel.
Yes, the same boot swivel. Yes.
So that might help her stand a little bit more straight.
Right.
If you turn that.
Right.
Although Hank's is really kind of stiff. And I also wanted to see if that helps Diana stand straight a lot better. That way she's not leaning.
Pretty good. She still has a lean, I think. That looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Okay, well.
But she still does. Well, I don't know if she kind of leans. Well, she actually still does kind of lean sideways.
Okay. All right. Well, let's put her off to the side, and we'll get on with Bobby and Uni. We'll sort it out later on. So,
Okay, so now let's get back to Bobby and Uni here. And we'll go ahead and start off with Bobby here. So here we have Bobby here, and as you can see, he does have his little helmet here with the little tusks.
Now, yes, and is there a name for the helmet? Is there a name for that helmet? Is there a specific name? Or there's no name for the helmet?
There's really not. So when designing him, they went with a barbarian theme. And when we think of barbarians, it's the Vikings. It's the, kind of those bandits, those medieval times. So they really took inspiration from the Vikings when they made his design.
Okay.
And he does have some yellow hair on him. And the eyes are a nice blue tinted paint to it. And he does have an expression on his face, like he's ready for battle. And the armor here does have a lot of brown with some silver on it, all around it. Even his bracelets here do have some metallic blue on it with some silver, with these silver things here, which I guess are supposed to represent like spikes, or it may be just some silver dots on it.
Yeah, they're just, they're like metal bracelets, and the dot design's kind of like his breastplate that he has there. It's just like a design they put on the bracelet to where it's just not a dull, bland metal bracelet. It has a little bit of a design to it.
Oh, okay. And the skirt here, or the cloth thing, it is made out of that same hard plastic. Yeah, it is made out of that same plastic material like Diana's is. Which you can see here. Although this one here is just like a harder plastic, whereas the Diana's was a soft rubber material. This one here is a hard plastic, and you can see I'm trying to move it. It basically is like a harder plastic. but going down to his legs, and you could see his boots here. And overall, he looks pretty neat all around. And now taking a look at Uni here, that there's not really a whole lot for Uni here, because Uni's basically just a unicorn here.
Now, Uni doesn't have no articulation, right? Does she have any articulation anywhere? I think maybe only her head.
No.
Can her head turn?
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
It is on a ball joint, which can go all the way around, look up and down, a little bit of a head pivot here.
Okay.
And as you can see, Uni does have some orange hair and an orange tail. And Uni does have some purple eyes here. And inside of Uni's ears, Uni does have some purple paint on the inside of her ears. Uni's a she?
Yes.
Okay. And going down to her hooves, that they're called hooves.
Yeah.
But there's not much to it. Just some black paint on her hooves here.
Okay. So.
And that's about it for Uni here.
Okay. Bring in Bobby right quick. I want to talk a little bit about him right quick. Now, y'all, when this first opened up of Dungeons and Dragons, I remember the opening scene. You had the unicorn, Uni. If I'm right, correct me if I'm wrong, but she was being chased by the dragon.
Yes.
Yes. She was being chased by Tiamat.
Yes.
Okay, then that's when you see Bobby, so it's kind of neat how they compared Uni to Bobby as like a companion, but you actually think about it, like me and Brendon was talking about, well, that would kind of make sense because Bobby is younger than the rest of the team. So, in a way, they kind of gave Uni to Bobby kind of like a kid companion.
Yes.
And when me and Brendon was just talking about that earlier, it made more sense. So, because you have the older group, and then Bobby's left out by himself. So maybe that's the reason why they brought in Uni, so this way Bobby wouldn't be alone or feel
Like an age gap between
Yes.
him and the rest.
Yes, that's an excellent way to put it. So, and I like Bobby. Bobby was a go-getter. It didn't matter what was going on. Just let him go knock it out of the park.
Which I think is my favorite thing when we have reviewed these in what we in D&D call their class, but Bobby's a barbarian is his class, and that is the mindset of the barbarian. Give me my club and let's go beat whatever we need to beat up.
Yeah.
We're going to ask questions later.
Right. And when you think about it, you're used to seeing a barbarian big, tall, muscular. In this cartoon, we have him as a kid.
Yes.
So that's a different spin on what you would think reality would tell you. You know, because a barbarian is supposed to be big, mean, massive hunk of a human. Here, he's a kid. So that's different.
I think, but that just speaks for the whole show. When you watch the overview of the whole show, they pick really something from everybody who's a hero in this show. They all have flaws. They all have great qualities to them when we see that. And so watching this, if you're a kid, well, even the kid can be a hero. Or when we look at Hank, even the leader can have doubt sometimes in his head. Or even for Diana, you know, a woman can be the hero. She, you know, it's not always just the males. And so I think when they picked Bobby to be a child, it was another way of saying even a child can be a hero and can play an effect in this show, in this game.
Interesting.
So for Bobby's articulation, he has a ball joint at the head, and it can go all the way around. And he cannot really look up and not really look down that well. His arms can rotate all the way around, and they can move in and out. And he does have an elbow swivel, and of course, bend at the elbow. And his hands do rotate all the way around. And also, for this hand here, which you can see here, it has a hinge joint here. So you can move his hands up and down like this. But with this hand here, it does have the same wrist swivel, but the wrist joint is now connected to here. So instead of the hand moving up and down, it moves like this on this hand here. And the waist is on a ball joint. Yeah. It is on a ball joint. Oh. And there goes his leg. His leg is on a ball joint. It just popped off.
Only when we film, y'all.
Bobby is headed to the ER.
Only when we have the camera rolling.
I don't think that other leg is going to go out so far. It's a little stiff.
But the legs are on ball joints, but due to his skirt piece, it does really hinder it. So you don't get a lot of range with his legs. But you do get a double jointed knee. They are on double joints here. You can see on the back. And for the feet, you of course get the boot swivel, which I didn't know about this until now. And the other two, like you saw, also has the same boot swivel. But the feet can move up and down, and you get an ankle pivot, and that's it. And you get the same peg holes on the bottom of his feet. So you could put him at a display stand if you want to. And the only accessory that Bobby comes with is...
So that would be known as like a club.
Club. That's what I had in my mind.
Now the club has what, magical powers?
So yeah. What the club is in D&D is it's actually just a standard club. But when we watch the show and he, seems to get powers, his class, Barbarian, has an ability called Rage. It's where they really get mad and they get superhuman strength and they get... So it's not as much the club as it is Bobby's ability that he's gaining from that. Where with Hank, it was the bow that had the magical ability. With Bobby, it's his actual person himself who powers up, if you want to think of it that way, instead of it being the weapon that does it.
Okay. Alright.
And like you could see, you can have him hold it in his hand there. And just like with the others. You of course get the little die here. And a comparison with the other one here.
Okay, Brendon, if you don't mind, touch on the dice right quick. What is this dice, and what's the skill level, and what's the highest number to the lowest number?
Yeah, so it's a D12. So your highest number is 1. Your highest number is going to be a 12. The reason this comes with Bobby is kind of like with Hank. That's his damage dice. So when he rages up, and if he hits you, he's going to roll this 12 to see how much damage he deals. The same way Hank rolled the 8. So, for example, Colton, if you want to roll one of them. And so Bobby, his D20 rolled high enough. He gets to hit the goblin. And then when Colton rolls, he deals 8 damage to the goblin.
Okay.
The goblin is going to lose 8 of its life. Because that's what we rolled. If we roll a 12, he takes 12 damage. A 1 is 1 damage. It's really just a damage dice to complete the set.
Okay. Okay. Can he roll a 12 and completely wipe it out?
Yes. So let's say the goblin has 11 life. And he rolls a 12. He has exceeded its life. The goblin has been defeated.
Okay. Okay, I see. Okay. I understand.
Now granted, a lot of monsters might have like 20 life. So it might take 2 hits to take them out. So that's how we go into the turn order. And a lot more detail in the game. But you can easily take out an opponent.
Okay. I see. I see. Like I said, what struck me odd when I first saw this cartoon, I did not understand it, being this was 1983, and I didn't understand why they gave Bobby the unicorn. Because it seemed like Uni and Bobby was a pair throughout the whole cartoon. Pretty much that's who Uni stuck with, but now you think of the age difference, bring Uni in there, put her by Bobby? No, just bring Uni and put her by Bobby.
That's what I was about to do.
If you look at the age gap and the way the age range is, well, it makes sense. You have the youngest one who doesn't have any kind of companion or anything that he can relate to with the older peers, except for her sister. That'll be coming later on. That's Sheila.
Those will be, I think those release in August.
Right. Okay.
The other 3 members of the party are in August.
Right. So, getting back to Bobby and Uni, it was actually thoughtful for them to do that.
Yes.
It was that was not expecting. And you don't think about this stuff when you're a kid watching a cartoon. Now, fast forward, 40 years later, you start looking back, and now it starts making more sense. And especially with our expert that we have here talking with us, he can help kind of break this down and to where we can understand it. Because at the time, Dungeons and Dragons was just only a cartoon. I knew that they had a role-playing game, but I never played it. So therefore, I'm left out in the dark, and I had to, So anyway, that's enough of me talking. I'm going to turn it back over to Colton.
And I think that's about all of the accessories. Well, it is about all of the accessories. So now we'll be getting into our final 5.
Yeah, we'll see y'all here in a minute.
So there we have Bobby and Uni from Dungeons and Dragons. Overall, they're both really cool looking figures, and they still are. But my only couple of issues I have with it, for Bobby, I wish he came with some like alternate hands, so you could put him into some like more action poses. And I also wish that the skirt piece was a soft rubber material or a flexible material instead of just a hard plastic. Because if you remembered when I reviewed Diana, she and also Hank also has a flexible skirt material, which is made out of rubber, so that way their legs can move a lot better. And with Uni here, Uni is a cool looking little unicorn, but I just wish she had some more articulations in her. But everything else about both of these look really good.
Okay. Yeah. I think that they did good. Like I said, it makes sense now why they have Uni paired up with Bobby. I didn't understand that at the time when I was watching the cartoon. To me, it was just a cartoon. It was 1983. You know, this was cool when we saw it. We didn't understand it. Definitely the first one, we didn't understand it. But looking back now, after you got some years and you look back and you wonder, why did they do that? Why did they do this? Once you talk to somebody else who knows about the game, then the pieces start falling more together and you can understand where the creator and the writer was coming from, because then it starts making a lot more sense.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job with Bobby because he looks like a barbarian, but he's a child. I think if they put this costume on Hank, we go, that's a barbarian, that's a Viking, that's... So they really just put it, on a child, but the look, it looks great. I think I've always liked the companion of Uni.
And this just came.
And we're going to go reverse, y'all, so we're just going to keep on talking.
But I've always liked the companion of Uni. I think it's also a comedic relief. When you go back and you watch the cartoon now and all the stuff they get into, and, Uni says things, of course, in, I guess, unicorn language, but you understand what she's trying to say.
Yep.
And it's just very funny.
And, yeah. So.
And this just turned off. I'm just going to go ahead and just rotate this around.
Yeah.
But if you've bought all three of these figures, you are halfway to having a set of D&D dice. Mm-hmm. And so if you are interested in playing, you can either buy the other three if you want to wait, or pick you up a set and just play D&D and play as Bobby or as Hank or as Diana. They're really not hard characters to create once you start, and just have fun playing with them.
Right.
Okay. Alrighty.
And that has been the final part of these Dungeons and Dragons action figures here.
So we have one more thing to do. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back.
And here we are, and here these figures are.
Okay, for the three that we have so far, I love it. it is an excellent representation of the cartoon Dungeons and Dragons, from Hank to Bobby to Diana, and Uni looks great. I think that they did an excellent job, and that's pretty much, like I said, the expert that we have here with us. He has seen the show, so he can mention a little bit about the show, not a lot, but you know, whatever he wants to throw in there. As far as me, it looks great. They did an awesome job. And I'm going to leave it up to the rest of these guys to wrap it up. Y'all take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Thanks for watching. We appreciate y'all. And I'm going to let them have the floor.
Yeah, so like, I think this is a really good representation of the cartoon. I think they're really cool toys. I think they're collector's toys for like the way that I have them in kind of a trophy case. Or if you wanted to play with them. I think they're also really good. And I said that I would give a little Easter egg in the new Dungeons & Dragons movie that is out right now in theaters. I went to the premiere last night. There is a scene that you might have seen in trailers of a rival band of characters in a certain part of the movie, and it is actually the 1983 cast is all in that. So you're going to see Hank, Diana, and Bobby. You'll also see the other figures that are coming out later this year. And that's just a cool Easter egg that if you see it in the movie. And so hopefully you recognize them now after watching this review. But I think the toys are great. I think, you know, they're great representations of those characters that brought people as children so much joy. And I think now we can kind of enjoy them in today's time, but then also for collectors, it can bring a bit of your childhood back from the 80s.
And for my opinions, for these action figures, I also think that they do look great, but they do have their problems. Like you saw from the individual parts of the video reviews of these guys. They do have their problems, so be mindful of that. But as that they are, that they still look like pretty good looking action figures for what they are. So I think that is about it. So there you have the final part review of the 3 Dungeons and Dragons action figures. And if you like this video, give us a like, comment, and subscribe for more. And if you want to check out some other videos you may have missed, there's a playlist set up on my YouTube channel. So I think that's about it. So thanks for watching.